The Horn of Africa is undergoing a dramatic geopolitical shift, as old alliances crumble and new, unexpected partnerships form. Global and regional powers are racing for influence, driven by economic ambitions and the strategic value of the region's trade routes. In this high-stakes environment, rumors swirl of a secret military deal between Qatar and the self-declared Republic of Somaliland. Qatar, having formalized ties with Somalia's government, now appears to be eyeing Somaliland, a rare island of stability. This potential air power partnership could redraw the map of power in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, challenging rivals like the UAE and signaling a profound shift in regional dynamics. In this video, we'll explore the motivations, military assets, and far-reaching consequences of a Qatar-Somaliland alliance. Somaliland declared independence from Somalia in 1991 and has since built a functioning state with its own government, currency, and security forces. Its stability and democratic progress make it a magnet for foreign partners seeking a reliable foothold in a volatile region. Somaliland's greatest asset is its 850-kilometer coastline along the Gulf of Aden, a gateway to the Red Sea and Suez Canal, one of the world's busiest trade routes. The deep-water port of Berbera is a commercial and strategic jewel, now being transformed by a $442 million investment from the UAE's DP World. This port connects to Ethiopia, opening access to a market of over 120 million people. For Qatar, Somaliland offers stability, strategic location, and a government eager for partnership, an ideal counterweight to the UAE's influence. By engaging Somaliland, Qatar can secure access to the Red Sea, invest in a growing economy, and position itself as a key power broker. This aligns with Qatar's foreign policy of backing emerging players and shaping regional transitions. The stakes are high, and the competition for Somaliland's favor is intensifying. For Somaliland, air power is not a luxury, it's essential for survival and sovereignty. Its military is almost entirely ground-based, leaving borders and coastline vulnerable to smuggling, extremism, and illegal fishing. Without surveillance aircraft or drones, Somaliland struggles to monitor threats or assert control over its territory. A functional air force would symbolize statehood and strengthen Somaliland's case for international recognition. Regional rivals are rapidly acquiring advanced military technology, leaving Somaliland at a disadvantage. Drones and surveillance aircraft would transform its ability to secure borders, deter threats, and protect maritime resources. Such capabilities would also give Somaliland leverage in negotiations and signal its seriousness as a regional actor. A Qatar-backed air force would be a game-changer, filling a critical gap in Somaliland's security architecture. This is about more than hardware. It's about Somaliland's quest for recognition and self-reliance. The stakes for Somaliland's future have never been higher. Qatar's interest in Somaliland is a strategic move to counter the UAE's dominance in the Horn of Africa. The UAE's investments in Berbera port and military presence have given it a powerful foothold along the Red Sea. By partnering with Somaliland, Qatar can challenge the UAE's influence and insert itself into a critical corridor for global trade. This isn't about direct confrontation. It's about gaining leverage and building relationships in a region where the UAE has long held sway. A Qatari presence in Somaliland would force the UAE to contend with a rival on its doorstep. For Qatar, securing access to the Red Sea is vital for its own energy exports and global trade interests. Investing in Somaliland's security now could yield long-term influence, especially if Somaliland gains international recognition. Qatar's approach is calculated to support emerging actors, build goodwill, and position itself for future shifts in regional power. This potential deal is a strategic investment in the future of the Horn of Africa. The rivalry between Gulf states is playing out on Somaliland's shores, with global implications. A Qatar-Somaliland military deal would likely focus on light training aircraft and, more importantly, drones. Surveillance planes like the Pilatus PC-9 could provide basic air patrols, but drones are the real game-changer. Qatar, with access to advanced Turkish drone technology, could supply Somaliland with persistent aerial surveillance. Drones would allow Somaliland to monitor borders, track smuggling, and protect its coastline from illegal fishing and piracy. For a resource-limited country, drones offer cost-effective, sophisticated surveillance once reserved for major powers. the initial focus would be on reconnaissance, not armed drones, to avoid provoking neighbors while enhancing Somaliland's defensive posture. Training for pilots and operators would be included, ensuring Somaliland can sustain these new capabilities. This support would help build Somaliland's air force from the ground up, cementing Qatar's role as a foundational security partner. The technological leap would fundamentally change Somaliland's ability to defend its sovereignty. A Qatari air power deal with Somaliland would trigger strong reactions across the Horn of Africa. Somalia's government would see it as a direct challenge to its authority and a boost to Somaliland's independence movement, likely condemning the move and seeking international intervention. The UAE, having invested heavily in Berbera, would view Qatar's involvement as an encroachment and might escalate its own support for Somaliland or rival regions. This could intensify the Gulf rivalry, turning Somaliland into a new arena for competition. Ethiopia, reliant on Berbera for trade, would watch carefully, balancing its interest in stability with concerns about militarization and Gulf rivalries. Ethiopia might see a stronger Somaliland as positive, but would tread cautiously to avoid being caught between Qatar and the UAE. Turkey, Somalia's main security partner and a close Qatari ally, would have a nuanced response, either seeing the deal as complementary or as competition for influence. Turkey's reaction would depend on coordination with Qatar and its own strategic interests in Somalia. The region's power dynamics would shift, with every player recalculating its alliances. Somaliland's new partnership would not go unnoticed. For Somaliland, a partnership with Qatar would be transformative. Gaining an air force would dramatically improve its security, allowing it to defend borders and patrol its coastline. This new strength would deter external threats and help Somaliland project control over its territory, key for any aspiring state. A military alliance with Qatar would signal to the world that Somaliland is a serious, capable actor, potentially encouraging other nations to reconsider their positions. Enhanced security would attract more foreign investment, boosting the economy and creating jobs. Qatar's involvement could also open doors to aid and investment in infrastructure, energy, and agriculture. However, the partnership carries risks, antagonizing the UAE and Somalia and drawing Somaliland deeper into Gulf rivalries. Somaliland's leaders must balance new alliances with existing relationships, ensuring the deal serves their interests first. The challenge leverdeirvandains transta laverage kragarderderde wadzaitar support without becoming a pawn in a larger geopolitical game. The Qatar-Somaliland air power deal is more than a military transaction. It's a catalyst for a new balance of power in the Horn of Africa. Empowering Somaliland with air capabilities elevates it as a regional security actor, forcing neighbors and global powers to adapt. Qatar's bold move signals a new phase in Gulf competition, with middle powers willing to take greater risks for strategic gain. This could lead to a more fragmented, multipolar region, where local actors have more options but face greater risks of proxy conflict. For the international community, the deal presents both challenges and opportunities, balancing concerns over instability with the benefits of a stronger, more secure Somaliland. Ultimately, this partnership could accelerate Somaliland's journey towards sovereignty and reshape alliances across the region. The sky over Somaliland may soon be guarded, and with it, the entire Horn of Africa will be changed. But behind the headlines and official statements, the Qatar-Somaliland jet deal casts a long shadow. As new fighter jets and drones arrive, questions swirl about the true extent of the agreement and what remains hidden from public view. Intelligence agencies across Africa and the Middle East scramble to decode secret clauses, while rival powers quietly probe for vulnerabilities. Experts warn that rapid militarization could trigger an arms race, destabilizing fragile peace in the region. Unresolved border disputes, tribal tensions, and the ambitions of neighboring states could all flare, with advanced weaponry raising the stakes. Meanwhile, covert actors, warlords, smugglers, and extremist groups may seek to exploit new opportunities, testing Somaliland's resolve and Qatar's commitment. For ordinary Somalilanders, the promise of security comes with uncertainty. Will these new alliances bring lasting peace or open the door to unforeseen dangers? As night falls over the Horn of Africa, one thing is clear. The real consequences of this secret jet deal may only be revealed in the shadows, where power ambition, and survival collide. As the dust settles over Somaliland's newly fortified airfields, the world watches and waits. The Qatar-Somaliland jet deal has already shifted the balance of power, but its true legacy is still being written. In the months and years ahead, Somaliland's leaders face daunting choices. Will they leverage their new arsenal to secure recognition and prosperity, or become entangled in the rivalries of greater powers? International observers predict a delicate dance, one where diplomacy, deterrence, and restraint will matter as much as firepower. The region's future may depend on Somaliland's ability to forge new partnerships, invest in its people, and avoid the pitfalls of militarization. For Qatar, the deal is a test of influence in a volatile landscape, with success measured not just in military might, but in stability and development. Meanwhile, the people of Somaliland dream of a nation finally stepping out of the shadows, seeking peace, security, and a seat at the world's table. Their fate, and the fate of the Horn of Africa, now hangs in the balance. The next chapter is unwritten, shaped by the choices